teenager has been found guilty of murdering a 17-year-old weapons dealer in broad daylight before pushing him into a canal in West London. Victor Lee had sold Elijah Gokool-Mely a crossbow earlier that day. He was stabbed twice in the back and once in the chest on a towpath off the Grand Union Canal near Wormwood Scrubs on June the 25th last year. The rapper Gokool-Mely was convicted of murder after a jury at the Old Bailey deliberated for more than 16 hours. Jurors also found him guilty of robbing the victim of his bike and rucksack. Two boys who were aged 15 and 16 were both acquitted of murder and robbery. A notebook was recovered from Gokool-Mely's prison cell whilst he was on remand in December 2023, and it contained rap verses saying, "Everyone on at the 8 p.m. news, ITV, Sky, BBC, broadcasting the stabbing I done. The people that knew me changed their views. I tried my best to leave no clues. My dog got booned. My mum's confused. No, I don't feel sorry for the youth." Later lyrics revealed his lack of remorse, adding, "On the phone I'm saying I'm innocent. Hop off the call, then I laugh in my cell. Hey officer, no I didn't kill him, just stabbed him and sent him to heaven or hell." Two men living on houseboats on the other side of the water were able to haul Victor out on the bank, but he bled to death within minutes. Just want to say, rest in peace to the victim, and my condolences go out to your family. The trial heard Victor from North Acton had bought knives and a crossbow on the internet in the months before his death and had been selling them on for profit. The prosecution told jurors that Victor appears to have met up with the three defendants at the towpath at around 3:30 in the afternoon and sold them a crossbow. It was said the same group then met for a second time at the same location around 5:30 after Victor had asked if he had any knives to sell, which is when the attack occurred. There were no witnesses to the killing, but one witness saw the tallest of the three boys, Gokool-Mely, pushing Victor into the canal. Gokool-Mely is going to be sentenced on July the 19th. The prosecutor, Crispin Elliott, said of Victor, "You might say he had been playing a dangerous game. On the other hand, you might think he would have been expected to be murdered by his own customers." A knife was recovered from Gokool-Mely's home address on which Victor's blood and the defendant's DNA was found. Detectives established that robbery was the motive for the brutal attack, in which Gokool-Mely stealing Victor's bike and his rucksack, which officers believe contained a number of knives. Police said Victor did not fully understand the harm the weapons could cause, and he actually appeared to enjoy trading. He used to trade in bikes first. He used to buy broken down bikes, fix them and sell them, and then he got into selling knives and believed that he could make a lot of profit. Detective Chief Inspector Brian Howie, the senior investigating Met police officer, said Victor was a young man who was not directly involved with gangs or criminality. He had an interest in buying, fixing and selling bikes. He had an engine drive, but sadly not enough wisdom. His family have told me they had an inability to properly assess situations, people or threats. When Victor crossed paths with the defendant, he took advantage of him and ultimately subjected him to a sudden, unprovoked and shockingly violent assault. Having worked so intensely on this case, speaking to Victor's family and thinking about his life and tragic death, it will forever be a source of regret to me that this is vulnerable but independent young man was able to buy weapons online simply by altering the date of birth on his passport. Having previously purchased knives, Victor bought a crossbow online in the days before he was killed and seems to have sold that to his killer around 3 o'clock on the day of his murder. He was robbed and murdered when seeking to sell knives to him later that day. Apparently unable to grasp the devastating consequence of his actions, he probably regarded this as an interesting scheme to make some money. But having met his killer after arranging to sell the weapons via Snapchat, this scheme sparked the events which cost him his life. Victor had his life ahead of him, and his family have been torn apart by what happened to him. They are understandably still struggling to come to terms with the murder and the events of that day that led to his death at such a young age. Our thoughts are with them today, and I can only hope that today's conviction will bring them some small measure of comfort. And in this next news story, gang members who were part of a multi-million-pound drugs network have been locked up for 40 years. Kudakwashi, Mutanga, Amon Mambingi and Aaron Sahota are now behind bars for their large-scale drug trafficking ring was exposed. Their offending, it came to light following a lengthy investigation which dated back to 2020, which was led by the West Midlands Police. Mutanga orchestrated the supply of more than 80 kilos of coke to his criminal associates across the region. He was involved in more than £3 million in cash exchanges, and cops soon identified that Mambingi was one of Mutanga's closest associates. Mambingi, who's 39 years old, also played a leading role in the large-scale drug distribution, and he moved large sums of cash on behalf of Mutanga between 2020 and 2021. Sahota, he was identified as being involved in the operation and supply of the Class A drugs, and a fourth defendant, Dorcas Chiridaza, was a serving probation officer. Investigations revealed that she had accessed some information. The information that she accessed was to gain information on the defendants. The three men were arrested in February 2022, and police carried out simultaneous and coordinated arrests. Warrants were executed in Wolverhampton, where they were all arrested. All three men admitted conspiracy to supply coke, while Chirizaza was charged with misconduct in a public office. The defendants were sentenced at Stafford Crown Court. They received the following sentences. Mutanga was jailed for 18 years. Mambingi got 16 years and 2 months. Sahota got 6 years. And Chiridaza was jailed for 3 years. And in this next news story, a man who murdered a retired teacher in a catfishing plot and dumped his body in Northumberland has been jailed. Paul McNaughton killed Peter Caution, who's 75, in a flat in Edinburgh on either August the 11th or 12th in 2022 after using a fake profile on a hookup site to lure him to the address. The 29-year-old first met the retired biology teacher online in 2021 and proceeded to steal tens of thousands of pounds from him after gaining access to his bank accounts. When Mr. Caution found out about the thefts, he threatened to go to the police unless McNaughton provided him with free favours. The defendant hatched a plot to kill the retired teacher after becoming fed up with the situation. McNaughton, alongside his flatmate Paul, hid the pensioner's body until about August the 15th, 2022. They then put it in a suitcase, drove it to a lay-by between Otterburn and Belsay and dumped it next to a wall. McNaughton pleaded guilty to murder and attempting to pervert the course of justice in 2023, and this Monday gone, he was sentenced at a Glasgow High Court to life imprisonment with the recommendation that he serve a minimum of 22 years behind bars. Just want to say rest in peace to the victim, and my condolences go out to your family. But there's a number of stories coming out from the streets of the UK. Once again, if you already haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. Please give this video a little like, as it will help and promote it for others to view as well. It's your boy GT. Keep it locked, keep it real.